to Gurukul Live Lectures. In the ongoing series of emotional intelligence, today we will be talking on personal competence. Personal competence is a key element of the emotional intelligence and refers to the ability to understand and manage your own emotions effectively. It lays the foundation for a strong emotional intelligence by focusing on the inner workings of an individual emotional world. The skills under the professional and the personal competence enable you to regulate your reactions, stay motivated and maintain a positive mindset in the challenging situations. Now let's understand what the personal competence is all about. It refers to a set of skills and abilities that allow the individual to understand and manage their own emotions effectively. It is a very crucial aspect of emotional intelligence as it lays down the foundation for the self-awareness, self-regulation, enabling a person to navigate their own emotional landscape in a healthy and a constructive way. In the context of our own book on the emotional intelligence, here is a detailed breakup of the personal competence. Personal competence in emotional intelligence is primarily about how we manage ourselves. It encompasses two main dimensions. One, the self-awareness. Two, self-management. Now, these kind of emotional abilities help the individuals understand their internal emotional process and guide their responses in a way that benefit both the personal growth and the interpersonal relationship. So, let us first talk about the self-awareness, that is the core of the personal competence. The self-awareness is the foundation of the emotional intelligence and it refers to the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotions, strengths, limitations, values, impact they have on the others. Individuals with the high self-awareness are mindful of how they feel and why they feel that way, enabling them to control the emotional reactions. Now, let us see the key components of the self-awareness. The first is the emotional awareness. Understanding one's own emotions and recognizing how they influence the thoughts and the behavior. Accurate self-assessment. Knowing one's strength and the weakness, leading to more confidence and the self-acceptance. The self-confidence, having a sense of one's self-worth and the capabilities. The practical application. A person high in the self-awareness may recognize that they are feeling stressed or anxious before an important meeting. Instead of reacting impulsively or letting anxiety take over, they might pause, reflect on the cause of the stress and then take the steps to calm down before proceeding. Now, this enhances their ability to stay focused and productive. The next is your self-management, that is controlling and directing emotions. Self-management is the ability to regulate one's emotions in a healthy way, especially in a stressful or a challenging situation. It includes controlling impulsive feelings, stay adaptable, pursuing the goals despite the setbacks. Now, this dimension is what helps the people turn the emotional awareness into appropriate action. The key components of the self-management, the next is your emotional self-control. The ability to manage disruptive emotions and impulses, maintaining a composure even in tough situations and the circumstances. The next is your transparency, being honest and authentic with integrity in one's actions and the world. Adaptability, the flexibility in handling the change and the challenges without getting emotionally overwhelmed. Achievement orientation, the drive to continuously improve and meet the standards of excellence. Optimism, staying positive and looking for the opportunities even in adversities. The practical application. In situations where a project doesn't go as planned, an individual with a strong self-management skills might initially feel disappointed or frustrated. However, instead of dwelling on the negative emotions, they focus on finding a solution, maintain a positive outlook, and adapt their approach as necessary to achieve the desired outcomes. The personal competence importance in the everyday life. Yes, we are talking about the acceptance, the importance in the everyday life, what the personal competence has. Personal competence is definitely vital in managing life's challenges, both big and small. Individuals with a strong personal competence are better equipped to handle the stress. They can recognize when they are stressed and use the techniques to manage it, make the sound decisions. Their ability to stay aware of their emotions and manage them helps them make a thoughtful, objective decisions. Maintain focus. By regulating the emotions, they can stay concentrated on the goals even when distractions or the obstacles arise. Build confidence. By knowing their strengths and improving on the weaknesses, they build a healthy sense of self-confidence, leading to a better performance in both personal and the professional settings. Build the personal competence is a continuous process that requires the practice and reflection. Here are some of the strategies to enhance the self-awareness and the self-management. The first is journalizing emotions. Writing about daily emotional experiences can help increase the self-awareness by identifying the emotional triggers. Mindfulness practices. The techniques such as meditation or the deep breathing can really help the individuals remain calm and regulate their emotions effectively. Seeking a feedback. Regularly, asking for a feedback from the others can help in better understanding one's emotional responses and how they affect those around them. Goal setting. Setting the personal and the professional goals can enhance the emotional regulation by providing the focus and the motivation, which helps in managing emotions under the pressure. The positive reframing. Shifting the perspectives in challenging situations help foster optimism and improves the ability to manage the emotions constructively. Now, the key features of the personal competence. Personal competence can be broken down into some key features that defines its role in the emotional intelligence. Now, these features help in identifying how well the individuals can navigate their emotional landscape. The first is your self-awareness. Self-awareness is a cornerstone of the emotional intelligence. It involves being aware of one's own emotions and the understanding how those emotions can affect the thoughts and the behavior. Now, the key aspects of the self-awareness include the emotional awareness also. The ability to accurately perceive and understand one's own emotions. The self-reflection. Reflecting on the personal experiences to understand the emotional triggers and responses. Accurate self-assessment. Knowing the personal strengths and the weaknesses and using this understanding to improve. The self-regulation is the ability to control the emotions, impulses and the reactions in a very healthy and a productive manner. Now, this feature ensures that the emotions do not overwhelm the rational thought. The key aspects include the emotional control, staying calm under the pressure, avoiding any kind of impulsive reaction. The next key feature of the personal competence is resilience, that is bouncing back from the setbacks, using emotional control to perceive through the challenges. Adaptability, the ability to adapt, adjust one's reactions and behavior in response to the changing circumstances. Next is your motivation. Motivation within the personal competence relates to the emotional energy and the commitment towards the goals. Now, the key aspects of the motivation include the achievement drive, having the inner drive, desire to meet and exceed the personal and the professional standards. Initiative, acting on opportunities and being proactive in pursuing the goals. The persistence, continuing to strive for the success despite the emotional or the external challenges. Optimism, optimism is very crucial feature of the personal competence that enables the individual to maintain a positive outlook even in the face of difficulties. The key aspects include the positive thinking, focusing on the opportunities rather than the obstacles. Resilience, using an optimistic mindset to recover from the emotional lows and the setbacks. Problem solving, approaching challenges with the belief that the solutions can be found. Another key feature of the personal competence is the self-confidence. Self-confidence is rooted in self-awareness and the self-management. It involves believing in one's own abilities, which help to navigate the difficult situations with a poise. The key aspects include the courage, the ability to take calculated risk and to face challenges without being deterred by the fear or the self-doubt. Decisiveness. Another key feature of personal competence is decisiveness, which refers to the confidence in one's own judgment, allows the individual to make the decisions swiftly and effectively. The leadership. Strong self-confidence fosters the leadership qualities as others often trust and follow the individuals who project the confidence. So, we can say that the personal competence is very crucial for emotional well-being and the success. Its importance lies in the ability to individual empower to understand, manage their emotions, to enhance the decision making under the power and under the pressure. So, the key features of the personal competence, the two focal points are empowering individuals who can manage their own emotions, understand them nicely and enhance the decision making when they are surrounded by different diverse types of pressures. The next is your reduce the stress and improve the mental health. Foster the personal growth through the self-confidence and resilience. So, by developing the way and the key features of the personal competence, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, optimism, self-confidence, individuals can actually improve their emotional intelligence and lead to a more successful, fulfilling lives. Now, let us now understand the scope and the nature of the personal competence in the emotional intelligence. Personal competence as a core aspect of emotional intelligence represents an individual's ability to manage their internal emotions, thoughts and the actions. Understanding the scope and the nature of the personal competence will help in identifying how this skill can be applied across the various aspects of the life, from the personal development to the professional success. The scope of the personal competence. The scope of the personal competence is broad as it touches on the various areas of the life where emotional awareness and the regulations they play a key role. Personal competence impacts not only how individuals perceive and manage their emotions, but also how they respond to the external challenges, maintain the resilience, and pursue their goals. The first scope is the self-management in the personal life. The personal competence enables the individuals to handle a daily life, emotional ups and the downs. Whether dealing with the stress at home, navigating the personal challenges, or maintaining a mental well-being, self-awareness and emotional control are very essential. Individuals with a high personal competence are better equipped to recognize and manage the emotional triggers in the relationships. The second part of the scope is the professional growth and the leadership. In the workplace, personal competence is vital for emotional resilience, stress management, and effective decision making. The leaders with a strong personal competence demonstrate the ability to stay composed under pressure, handle the criticism or the failures constructively. The third is your educational and the skill development. The personal competence allows and play a very crucial role in educational settings for the learners and the educators, alike managing the stress, staying motivated, and controlling the emotions are a key to success. When you are talking about a scope and the nature of the personal competence in emotional intelligence, the scope extends to the learners remaining focused, managing the test anxiety, and staying motivated to achieve the academic goals. To the educators, that is handling the student behavior, maintaining the patience, managing the stress in challenging teaching environment, the social relationship and the communication. Through the personal competence primarily concerns the managing oneself, it significantly affects the social interactions. Individuals with a strong self-awareness and emotional control, they are better able to communicate very clearly, effectively in the social situations, manage the conflicts by regulating their own emotions, avoiding escalation, build and maintain a healthy relationship by controlling the impulsive reaction. And when you talk about the scope, the next aspect is your mental and the physical health. The ability to manage the emotions effectively has a direct impact on both the mental and the physical health. Reducing the stress through the emotional regulations, improve the mental clarity and reduce the anxiety or depression, promote healthier and the physical response such as a lower blood pressure, better sleep, improved immune functions. Now coming on to the nature of the personal competence. The nature of the personal competence is rooted deep in the emotional intelligence and includes a combination of the self-awareness, emotional regulation and the personal motivation. These elements, they work together to help the individuals navigate their emotional world in a very productive way. The first is your self-awareness, a reflective nature. At its core, the personal competence is being aware of one's own emotional state. This reflective nature, it allows the individual to understand what emotions they are feeling and why, how these emotions affect their thoughts, decisions and the actions, how their emotional responses can impact others. For example, if someone feels anger rising during a stressful meeting, self-awareness helps them recognize the emotion and take steps to control it before it leads to an unproductive reaction. The second is your proactive emotional regulation. A key aspect of the personal competence is the ability to not just understand the emotions but to regulate them proactively, like controlling impulse feelings and reactions, maintaining calm in stressful situations, channelizing the emotions into a productive behavior. Let's take an example. A person who feels anxious before a presentation might use a breathing technique or a positive self-take and a self-talk to regulate their emotions, allowing them to perform well under the pressure. The next is your goal-oriented motivation. The personal competence is very closely linked to an individual's ability to stay motivated despite the emotional challenges. Now, this includes setting the personal and the professional goals and pursuing them with the determination, maintaining emotional energy to overcome the obstacles, using the emotional constructively to fuel the achievement and the success. Now, let us take an example. A student who feels overwhelmed by exam preparation may use their self-motivation to break the task into manageable steps, using emotional regulation to stay focused and optimistic. The fourth aspect is your adaptability and the flexibility. Another key nature of the personal competence is the ability to adapt. Emotional intelligence, it also helps the individual stay flexible in response to change, allowing them to handle unexpected challenges without becoming emotionally overwhelmed, adjust the plans or the actions when the circumstances shift, embrace the change as a part of growth rather than resisting it due to the emotional discomfort. Now, in a work environment, a manager might face last-minute changes to a project deadline rather than feeling frustrated or stressed. The personal competence allows them to calmly reassess the situation and lead their team to meet the new requirements. Optimism and resilience. The ability to maintain an optimistic outlook even in adversity is another characteristic of the personal competence. Individuals with a high emotional intelligence see the challenges as the opportunities for growth, bounce back from the setbacks or the failures, use the positive thinking to overcome the negative emotions. So, let's take an example. After experiencing a professional setback such as rejected proposal, an individual with a strong personal competence can reflect on what went wrong, learn from the experience and approach further challenges and renew the optimism. So, we can say that these aspects need to be closely looked upon, and definitely if adapted, it can actually play a very positive role. So, what is important is the self-awareness. You need to have a reflective nature of yourself. You need to be proactive as far as the emotional regulations are concerned. Goal-oriented motivation is very necessary aspect. Adaptation and the flexibility is another key for the personal competence. And last but not the least, we need to adapt, embrace the change as a part of growth rather than resisting it due to the emotional discomfort. Thank you very much.